Hello, all my lovely students. I'm going to start with the next lesson. This is the sixth lesson of my course. I'm going to be covering alphabets G and H here, and I'm going to be moving very quickly because I have a lot of words that I have put in this particular lesson. But I'm going to make sure that I explain every word nicely so that it remains etched in your memory. And if you forget it, it's not going to be a good thing. Okay. Now, in my opinion, the alphabet G has some of the best words in English language, and I have chosen some of my favorite words here. But these are also words that usually end up coming in these competitive exams because of the kind of synonyms that they have. So look out, and in your preparation books, see that in MCQs, if these are the words that are coming up, I will just help you in remembering them better. First word is garrulous. Now look at this extremely funny picture here. This man is talking to a statue, okay? So garrulous, as the word explains, means an excessively talkative person, okay? So here we've written excessive talkative in rambling, roundabout manner, especially about trivial matters. So if you call a person garrulous, okay, that person is not just talkative, okay. ये एक इंसान ऐसा नहीं है जिसको सिर्फ बात करना पसंद है. He's somebody or she's somebody who indulges in talking just for the heck of talking, okay. Whether or not there is any real conversation going on, a garrulous person will just talk. For example, this man here. So, if you discover that you have a garrulous neighbor sitting next to you on a plane, you might just want to pretend that you're asleep so you don't have to hear them talk. Unless, of course, you really want to know everything that is happening, but that's just totally your choice. In an exam, in a sentence, if you have to use garrulous, you can just say that. Rahul was so garrulous that he just could not keep a secret. Okay, so a garrulous person is somebody who is loquacious or a blabbermouth. Okay. Again, remember that the synonyms are not exactly similar in meaning, but yeah, near about similar in meaning. Next, gravitate. As you can see, we have this magnet that we can see is attracting or gravitating things towards it. Hence, the word gravitate means to move or tend to move under the influence of gravitational force. Now, if you're thinking that this is too scientific an explanation, just remember that gravitate, let's use gravity as an analogy over here. So how gravity pulls objects towards earth, gravitate describes how people are pulled towards the things that they like. For example, little kids gravitate towards playgrounds, or someone who's athletic will gravitate towards sports, or someone with a nice voice will gravitate towards a singing career. If you have to use it in an example, then you can say that people tend to gravitate towards the most outgoing person at a party. So you automatically gravitate towards that person. You automatically precipitate, or you automatically get attracted or gravitated. You're pulled by that thing or by that force. Okay, so you use the word gravitate. Next, grandiloquent. Now remember the pronunciation, or see how I pronounce this here. It's not grandiloquent, it's grandiloquent. So the stress is coming on the dill part of it. Okay, so grandiloquent, not grandiloquent. Okay, grandiloquent is a fancy term for, well, somebody who's fancy. Okay, so if you want to call somebody fancy but you don't want to use the word fancy, you can just say, oh, that's grandiloquent. Okay, in fact, I would say this joke, okay, that I make, that the word grandiloquent in itself is a very grandiloquent word, okay. So it generally, it's used in the manner that a person behaves, or in the manner that a person speaks. For example, Donald Trump was grandiloquent about himself, about his temperament, and about his ability to serve the people of the United States. So, a synonym over here that we're using is pompous. So, grandiloquent is not just in terms of using big fancy words, it's also the manner in which a person sort of boasts, or very pompously describes certain things, okay? And politicians are the usual suspects of this manner of behavior. What is this manner of behavior? It's grandiloquent. Next, gregarious. It's a very cute picture. Look at this centermost frog here. Okay, this frog is somebody who's surrounded by all these other friends, frogs. So we're assuming that this frog is a gregarious one. Gregarious is somebody who enjoys the company of others, a sociable or affable person. So if you know somebody who is outgoing, who's sociable, or who's fond of company of other people, so you might want to call him or her gregarious. I will use this in a sentence for you. Gregarious people are likely to hang out with friends comments every weekend, whereas reserved people, they like to keep to themselves. So gregarious is outgoing. Yeah, we're done with G. So I think those were some really great words. You guys better use them in sentences and get back to me with the comments, okay, below this lesson. We'll start with H, and the first word here is hackneyed. Now, hackneyed is a word for language that doesn't pack a punch since it is very overused. In simple words, let's say you ask somebody a question and you expect a good answer, but the person, yeah, it's great. So it's a very hackneyed and overused term. Okay, other synonyms here are trite, stale, or banal. Banal is just like बस यार बहुत घिसा पिटा. Hackneyed literal translation would be very घिसा पिटा in Hindi. So hackneyed is usually used to describe a very tired writing, but you can also refer hackneyed plots of television sitcoms. For instance, these Saas Bahu serials or Saas Bahu serials as a theme is a very hackneyed theme, okay, or very typical theme. Other synonyms instead of just trite, stale, or banal can also be time worn or tired or commonplace, old hat, etc. Another sentence that I can give you for this would be, every time my internet goes down, the cable company gives me a hackneyed explanation, like a very typical excuse, that is hackneyed. Next, haggle. You can see these two people are sort of angry with each other. We are assuming that one of them is haggling with the other one. Haggling, basically, in simple words, means to bargain. Bargain in a petty, in a very quibbling or often contentious manner, okay, to wrangle or to dispute. See, these words are the sounds that they have. Isn't it just wonderful, the kind of the way these words sound, guys? Like I would just love to use them anyhow. I'm just wondering why I don't use them more frequently, like squabble or quibble. So when you haggle with somebody, it means that you're squabbling with that person or you're quibbling with that person. Haggle in simple terms is bargaining with somebody, but when you tend to get maybe a little bit more argumentative or you're quibbling a little more, or that bargaining maybe with that shopkeeper or whoever else to bring down the prices, it just ends up taking a little more perhaps maybe argumentative tone. We can use haggle, but it does not necessarily have to be like that also. If you're haggling, means you're, maybe my mom haggled with the shopkeeper and brought down the prices of the trousers, so that can be how you use haggle. It can also be used completely in place of bargain. Next, hedonism. Look at this girl, she's surfing on these sand dunes, right? So hedonism, strictly speaking, it is basically a belief that pursuing pleasure leads to the greatest ethical good. In practice, though the ethical part, it gets lost in the pleasure part. In very simple terms, a hedonist, okay, is a person who practices hedonism. A hedonist means that my purpose in life is that I am here just to have pleasures of life. For instance, a hedonist might just be lying down in bed saying, I don't want to go to work, or I don't want to study, or I don't want to do this. My job is just to like derive the pleasures of life, and for me the pleasure of life is to just lie down on my bed. So hedonism is this belief or this philosophy, basically. I'm not too sure how much gratification would be used as a synonym over here, so I would just say avoid. Let me give you an example of a sentence instead. Because he is a hedonist, Henry never does anything which does not give him joy. So this is what hedonist basically means. So we are assuming this girl here in picture is a hedonist, and because surfing on sand gives her joy, she is doing it. Next, hegemony. Like we can see, this is a remote control. So hegemony, we have used a descriptive picture here to tell you that जिसके हाथ में remote control होता है, that person has the hegemony over others. Okay, a command or authority. In meaning, we have written leadership, especially of one nation over the other. For instance, United States of America has hegemony over the other nations. In general, in the UN, however else you want to say. Basically, hegemony is a political or cultural dominance or authority over others. You can use it in a simpler context also, that hegemony of popular kids over other students. It means that these popular kids in school, they determine what is cool and what is not. Another example of a sentence for hegemony can be, the CEO of the company has hegemony over the employees. Next, hermetic. Hermetic, as you can see, there are these jars that are kept closed. Okay, they're sealed jars. Okay, synonym में भी हमने sealed लिखा है. So if you want to keep, let's say, something fresh, or assuming there are cookies inside this, so if you want to keep it crisp for a long time. So you store it in a jar which has a hermetic or an airtight seal. So hermetic means something that is sealed so that no air can get in. That is what hermetic means. That is impervious to any external influence or airtight. Now we can use this in a larger context also. For example, look at this sentence. The billionaire bought a private island so that he could raise his kids in a hermetic environment. So hermetic means जिसका बाहर से कोई influence अंदर नहीं आ रहा है. It's absolutely airtight. It's absolutely sealed. It's impervious to any outside influence. That becomes hermetic. Next is henchman. Now, a henchman is somebody who is an accomplice or an apprentice in a crime. Apprentice, maybe not so much, but yeah, an accomplice definitely in a crime. So, the meaning that we've described here is a henchman is an unscrupulous and ruthless subordinate, especially a criminal. So a henchman is a collaborator or a partner in crime. In very simple words, your partner in crime is your henchman. So the sentence can be Robert and his henchmen, they broke into the bank and stole all the money. So henchmen, in movies how you would see that there's this one villain and the guys that surround him, they are his henchmen. Next is the last one that we have with alphabet H, that is hoodwink. Hoodwink, like you can see, scam, all these scam posts here. So hoodwink means to trick or mislead somebody. For example, people say that, especially right now with demonetization, they say that beware of fake ATMs that try to hoodwink you into giving your credit card details or your codes, etc. And maybe they just use it to steal your money. So to deceive or to trick somebody, blindfold is literally when you're blindfolding somebody, किसी की आंखों के ऊपर पट्टी डालना. In simple words, in Hindi, it would mean किसी को धोखा देना या किसी को trick करना or to deceive somebody. Let me use this in a sentence for you. In an attempt to hoodwink the woman into opening the door. So hoodwink the woman into opening the door. Matlab, to trick the woman into opening the door, the rapist pretended to be a police officer. So when you deceive somebody, means that you hoodwink that person. So you can also use the word hoodwink there. I hope that you're finding this particular set of lessons useful for you. Do give me your feedback and tell me the ways in which I can improve. We have covered alphabets G and H in this lesson. I'll be starting with I, and trust me guys, there are a lot of words with alphabet I. So I'm going to spread I over maybe 2 or 3 lessons, and I hope you're finding this useful. I'll come back with the next lesson very soon. Have a great day.